Hey everyone, welcome to this is Melly Mel from Sincerely Creative Mom. We're gonna make a bow my style. I'm gonna use two 2.5 inch ribbons and two 1.5 inch ribbons. All are wired. Okay, so we're gonna start with the bottom. So I use the bow maker as my helper. So I'm gonna take this and fold it in half so that we can put a nice little V on the bottom of this so it comes out with a nice finished look here. Love that look. We're going to use 2 pipe cleaners. I think we're going to might use 1 pipe cleaner. Okay, so I'm going to use about a 9-inch tail. Let's do a 10-inch tail. A 10-inch tail. Okay, and right there I'm going to hold on to it and make my first loop. My first loop is going to be about 6.5 inches. 6.5 inches, and we're going to pinch right there and kind of gather it. So your center is nice and small, nice and tight. Okay, full range of that ribbon. I kind of pull those two apart. Then from here, I always want to see the pretty side, right? So I'm going to twist this back part. I'm going to pull those two together. And then I'm going to twist that back part so that I can see the front again. So before I twisted it, I couldn't see that pretty side. Okay, so I twist it, and then I'm going to make another loop coming around to the back. And I want to eyeball it just to make sure that it's about the same and not too big. You could measure it, you know, by pulling these two up and kind of measuring to make sure that they are about the same. One last step, I just eyeball it. So then pinch, one more, twist. Now I'm going to do 3 loops and 2 tails. So 3 loops total and 2 tails. So 2 loops on one side, measure those, make sure they're the same. Pinch it, gathering it behind there. Perfect. And then I'm going to twist again. And this is going to be my other tail. So I'm going to have 2 loops. I'm sorry, 2 loops on one side. 2 loops on one side, 2 tails on the other side, and 1 loop. Now, because my hand already does not like me, I'm going to slip this right in here, nice and careful, to hold on until I can get my next layer going, and I'm just going to keep building on top of this. My tail is going to be about the same size, and I'm going to pinch or hold on to it. I'm going to make my first loop, and my first loop, or my next size, this loop is going to be a little tiny shorter than the previous one, just a little bit, maybe about a 1/2 inch. I'm going to hold on to that there. Same thing, I'm going to pinch. Once I have it pinched, I just make sure, yep, see it's just a little bit, see it's about 1 finger smaller. Perfect. And then same thing, I'm going to pull those kind of apart so I have room back there to twist, and then I'm going to twist and loop, eyeball it. Make sure it's about the same on both sides. Perfect. Gather it from the back. Pinch. Twist. And loop. Make sure they're about the same. Pinch. Twist. Remember, I'm twisting that just because every single time I want to make sure I'm seeing that pretty side on the top. Okay? So I'm going to hold it, make sure I hold down tight. Cut my tail. And now for this next layer, I'm going to put the loop, the tails going one way and the tails going the opposite way. So when I fluff out the bow, you'll see why I do it that way. And again, the tails are going to go opposite side. I'm making sure my loops are just going to be a little bit smaller, a little bit shorter. Now this is the 1.5 inch. So I really like to do the 2.5 inch, 2.5 inch, and 2 1.5 inch. Pinch. I pull it apart. When I pull it apart here, it really does give room back there to do this twist, and it lets the ribbon lay nicely. Loop. Pinch. So I'm pinching from the back here, and then once it's back there, it's all pinched, then I'm going to twist. Okay, I have to do that so that that loop, when it comes up, it's on the pretty side. Gather from the back, pinch, twist, So now I'm looking at all the, what's on top is the pretty side. And now same thing. Tails are over here. Tails are going to be on the other side. Put them right down in there. I'm just going to hold that just like that so it'll keep that ribbon right in place. So I like the top loop to have something to hide the pipe cleaner because I'm going to use a pipe cleaner. You could use a zip tie, but I like using a pipe cleaner. So what I do, tail same size, what I do is I make a little tiny loop. So my first loop is little. You could just do one little loop and then be done. I'm still going to do 3 loops, but my center loop is going to be little. So it's about 3 inches. This one's about 3.5 inches, okay? So I'm going to pinch. Now this loop isn't going to count in my 3 loops. I'm going to take that apart just like here. Pull those apart so there's nice and lots of room back here. Twist, loop. Now again, these loops are going to be a little bit shorter, a little bit smaller than this loop. So pinch, twist. So you make sure this side of the ribbon comes up and over all the way to the other side. That way when you make your loop, it's going to look nice. It's going to look like a nice loop back there. Okay? Pinch, twist, loop, pinch, twist. Now I do have 3 loops, so 1, 2, 3. This is my center, so it doesn't count, okay? And since I do, my tails are going to be on opposite sides, and that's okay. They're all going to fluff out beautifully. Put that right down in there. Now I'm going to hold on tight, push it down, kind of lift up at the same time, push it down. All the way up, there we go. I'll take this right in the center. And then nice and tight, don't let go, nice and tight. Keep that center stacked, push down so that it stays together. Now here's where you could use a pipe cleaner, a zip tie, and it'll be just fine. But I just want to make sure that that stays nice and stacked there. You see that here? Nice and stacked, perfect. That way when you look at it from the top, you have, it's very clean there, and you can tell, you can see all those layers. It helps keep those loops in line. Okay, so before I fluff it out, I always dovetail those ends. Remember, I'm cutting on the fold, so I'm going to fold, cut on the fold. My scissors goes on the fold, and I'm going to cut up towards that edge there, and it just gives it that nice clean look. I'm going to do these because every time I fluff, I always forget one, and so I just do it beforehand to keep me in line here. Every single one nice and finished. There we go. Now I'm done with the easy bow maker. I can set these aside. Now I'm going to hold onto this so that my fingers kind of stay underneath here. Okay, I have one finger in the center and then one on each side, and I'm going to pull this one. See, now you can see that pipe cleaner, and now you can't. So I'm going to stick this, pull it up, and I'm going to put my thumb in between there so that I can really work it. And what I'm really working is the inside here, trying to get those to come apart so that it stays and hides that pipe cleaner just the way we want it to. I'm going to hold on tightly. I'm going to bring all of those ribbon tails down to one side. So I'm going to bring all of those ribbon tails down to one side, keeping the loops up. I just want the tails down. Just want those tails down. So I'm going to make sure I tied that pipe cleaner pretty tight. And I feel pretty confident that I can bring those down nice and easy, kind of moving them, making sure they know I'm the boss. Pull them all down. So I'm starting at the bottom layer and I'm moving my way up. And then once I have all of those down to the bottom, just like this, now I can work on filling out the actual bow part. So I'm going to just pull them apart. And I'm going to kind of layer them. So starting with the 2.5 inch first, I'm going to lift these up. Starting with the 2.5 inch first, I want to make sure that it's leopard lace, leopard, and then we come around to the other side. I'm going to make sure that lace is there and go around. So I want one full layer of that 2.5 inch, right, alternating. And then I'm going to come up to the next one, and the stripes are going to they're going to flank the last layer. So the lace comes in the center, it kind of flanks right there in the center. Now the stripes are going to come in and flank each side of that lace. Okay, so it's like on the sides, kind of right on top of that leopard, but because it's a little bigger, you can still see it peeking out there perfect. And then I'm going to put that Swiss dot right in the center. So we're going to go on the other side and do the exact same thing. Now remember, I did leopard, lace, leopard. My next one I want to be a lace. So even though this is the second layer, I want to bring that up because that leopard is going to stay right here. It's right here. So I'm going to bring that up. Okay. Put those all kind of in place just where they need to be. Perfect. And then same thing. Now that stripe is going to go on top of that leopard. And I'm going to pull these Swiss dots so that when you look at the top, you have stripe, dot, stripe, dot, stripe, dots, and then there's no more stripes. So just like that, we have a beautiful bow here. This is darling. I love these colors.